Knär ash. Serpent scale, sheathing 5 3/4. Strong and swift. Alright, look knär ash. So and probably do by like just like by even a quarter that this probably take by like 3/4. I'll take that. I just fix that. There we go. Okay. Alright. Where did I put my tape measure? So. Where did I put it? Did I? Alright, what's this here? 5 3/4, so let's see. So 2 5 3/4, so that 2. So that's a little shows it. And there. Alright. And she goes in this way. So cool. Wait, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and seam across. So there, and that should be the same. 2, 5, and a quarter there. Right. Put this there. Alright, so what's the next step? Serpent scale, sheath length, order, strong and swift. Alright, I'll do take out this. Alright, I have to do now definitely use a bit of ironing, so the wood forms aside. wondering when I might see you again. Come on in. Wow, you've done a fair bit of travelling since I saw you last, have you not? Quite popular here in Kelswick, from what I heard. I heard about a few of your adventures by Chumley. I cannot remember the last time I was hopping about as much as you. But to say, I'm quite proud to know you. Is it true that you're a transient? An earth folk? Blistering bluebells. Why didn't you tell me that the first time I met you? My word. Honestly, never thought I'd see one of your kin ever again. This is a mighty fine day, it is indeed. What's that? You're looking for some armour. Think I might know something about that. Alright, well, why don't I show you some of the things that we have, some of the materials and such, and then, once you decide on what you'd like, I'll make you a fully customised suit of armour. How's that sound? Alright. Here we go. Well, ordinarily something like this cost probably about 1 3/4 to 2 grams of unikite. But for you, I think I might be able to swing it for 1 1/4 ounce of air. That is to say nothing. But yeah, it does. Of course. Listen, you're here doing this for the good of all Kelswick. Who would I be if I charged you for that? I'm proud to make this for you. Proud. So, we'll have no more talk of payment, alright? I'm helping you with something that's going to help you defeat the crone. If I could contribute to that in any way, make Kelswick a brighter place again, bring some peace and joy to this place. Well, there's no stone or crystal, metal, no valuable possession to think of that's worth more than that. I'm thinking we do an entire suit of our Medallion armour. You don't know what that is? Right, of course not. So, an armadillo is a fiercely cunning creature. They shed their scales about once every fiery moon. So they're very, very rare to have. Now, as I'm sure you probably know, here in Kelswick, there is no taking of an animal's fur, skin, scales. I think we spoke about this last time. But especially not here. Don't take them by force or anything like that. So you have to either wait until they die, or As is true in my case, along my travels, I befriended an armadillo. Now, this particular armadillo owes me. I'm not going to go into the details, but let's just say she owes me a wee favour every now and again. So, every time the fiery moon passes, she comes here, drops off her scales. Now, would you like to see? Alright. So I brought out my favourites. It's hard to play favourites in your own shop, isn't it? But these are some of my favourite materials to work with and some of the most rare. So, here we are. To store this better, as you can see there's some folds and such, but aside from that, it's in immaculate condition. Look at that. So, as I'm sure you can kind of tell, this Medallion scales, they're incredibly strong. Really, really tough. Now you might imagine, since that's the case, it'd be very difficult to fight him. It's not the case at all. Moves with you. Feels quite light on. It's a really important thing for so much of what I use for armour. It has to feel good when you're in battle. Otherwise, what's the point? So much of what I use is seems like fabric, but it's actually most of the time metals that I've woven together. I'll show you a few of those. Sort of a chainmail sort of thing. Or it's natural plant matter that I've woven so finely. Spiders, webs, you can really use anything. It's brilliant, isn't it? In any case, in terms of magical properties, this beautiful our Medallion scale material, what it does is if you're wounded, if you're injured in battle, and you're wearing this, it'll keep you alive for 15 hours longer than you would have been. Yeah. So, essentially, fatal wounds are impossible if you're wearing this. As long as you have time to go somewhere where you can be helped. So, I think this is what we should use for your armour. I think it'd be great for the general suit, breastplate, you know. Yeah, everything together. What do you think? Yeah, you can touch it, of course. I should have offered, to be honest. I should have expected you not to know what it feels like here, yeah. Yeah, it does. I know it does have that. It's sort of like, you think it's gonna feel one way and then it feels another. And if you rub this way with the scales, it's actually quite smooth. But the moment you go that way, it's not a pleasant feeling. Isn't that interesting? Give it a shot. Yeah? And then, yeah. That's funny, isn't it? Alright, tell me this. Glad we decided on that. No. With most of these, you don't have to do anything to meet the magical properties of each of the garments or each part of the armour work for you. All you've got to do is have that intention, which I think is an important thing. It's a big belief here in Chaos Wake. Got to have the intention, so... But you haven't got to, like, whisper and drip some jelly in it or anything like that. No. All you have to do is wear it with intention. Alright, now that we've got the base all sorted, why don't we take a look at some of the options for the other bits and bobs that really make a suit of armour come to life? Yeah? Alright. So, I've got here an oxen cloak. Yes. Have you heard of that? No. Alright. An oxen cloak allows the wearer to multiply up to 6 times. So, it's a great diversionary tactic. A lot of what I have is very defensive in nature. I have very few offensive things here, but this is a really great option if anything happens, you know, when you're fighting the crone. Would you like to see? Alright, this is on the top here. It's midnight black. It's so smooth. It's velvety. It's quite beautiful as well. So, what do you think? What I'd do is I'd make the whole suit of armour. We'd do whatever little bits and bobs that you want, trinkets, some little things that might sort of help, a lot of diversionary things. And then, I think I showed this to you last time. I just take these little ones. They clasp like that. And what I'd do is I would put them on either side so that over the armour all you'd have to do is just close it like that. So it could just sit over you. And that way, anytime you'd like, you can do ask the cloak to multiply. It has to be in the area where you are. So, for example, you couldn't say multiply and be one place and then be, whole forests away and nothing like that. So that in one way you could make a body think that you're right in front of them, or you could make them think that you're behind them and really you're in the tree or you're running away or whatever it is. So that's kind of the idea. But this way it could just be straight on the whole time. And you don't really even have to think about it. What do you think? Oh yeah, sure. Again, should have offered. Here you are. I mean, I was gonna make you one if you wanted this, but I think, you know what? It actually, do you know it might be your size? Yeah. It's hard to tell specifically, but yeah, it might be your size, so. My shop is always a mess. Forgive me. There we are. Yeah. It's nice, right? That's very soft. Yeah. Yeah, light too. Go and feel it. Yeah. Alright. Well, you're being very easygoing. I hope that's not just because it's free. No, only missing. Alright. So, I suppose we'll just decide if you want that one. What do you think that'll do? Alright. Next up. Now a brush fire brooch. This has the ability to confuse or befuddle anyone who looks at it, giving you the chance to run away or to attack. So, yes, well, actually just the stone now. This is a brush fire stone. So it's actually not been imbued with the magical properties quite yet. Yeah. So that's part of it. My part of the process is not just sewing and doing all that, or bending steel, bending any metal. It's also about understanding the material that you're working with, understanding the magical properties, and figuring out how to make it work in a way that would protect someone or help someone. You know, in a dangerous situation, sometimes you've got to attack. There we go. I'll have to do a little polishing with this one. It's been a long time since I've made a brush fire brooch, but it's quite pretty. So what you want to do is you're gonna wear it with this side here. You want that side facing up. So, like that. And you want to have the ability to switch it up like that, because it's the open side, the cavernous side, like that. Geode, you know, Oko geode. That open side. That's where the eye must look in order to... That was my befuddled face, my confused face. So, there we are. Do you know, I really did miss you. I know that probably sounds strange, but you really brightened my day. But I'm really, really looking forward to you coming back. Wondered when you would finally come back. I wondered about it. I'm glad you did. Well, in any case, this will be a fun one to make, if that's something that you're interested in. So, what do you think? Is that worth it to you? Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, just be really careful with it, because I haven't really, I haven't strengthened it, I haven't really done much to it, so just make sure you're really careful. There we go. Give it a feel. Yeah. You don't toss it or anything. That's alright. Yeah, it's a funny little thing, isn't it? I find it quite beautiful, actually. The little red veins going through it. It's funny. Yeah. Alright. So, we'll pop that in the yes pile. How's that sound? Good. Now we could do a Brigandine blade. Have you ever heard of that? No, I didn't think so. I should just assume from now on that I'll have to tell you everything. Not in a condescending way, I forget. Can't believe we were able to converse as well as we were last time you were here. You must have been thinking, what is this? What are you talking about? What is she on about with this and that? I can't even imagine. Well, I'm impressed. So, now, a Brigandine blade. What it does, it's not a battle blade. Again, it's a defensive blade. What you can do with a Brigandine blade is you can cut a hole in anything around you. Doesn't matter what the material is at all. You could cut a hole in anything. and then it will transport you to a place far away from where you are that's been dictated before the battle. So, for example, you could cut a hole in the tree, crawl through that hole, and you could end up here, walking through the door. You could cut a hole in the ground, shimmy down, like drop yourself in and wind up in Puxie's tree. So it's sort of an easy way of transporting yourself out of harm's way. The only trouble is that the Brigandine blade itself, it can get quite dull quite easily. So you really have to have a really good sheath for it. So we'd have to make sure that a few other things are tweaked so that the blade will work as best it can. Because if you're, as I said earlier, if you're expecting something to happen and you're relying on that, then when you try to do it and it doesn't go through, to me I think that's more dangerous than just not having the thing at all. Yeah, it might be a bit obvious, but that's the way I feel about it. So yeah, just fair warning, that one's a little bit finicky. What do you think? No, I suppose I didn't really sell that one, did I? Alright, moving it right along. Now, a mentrail mask is typically made out of finely woven Iranian strands. So we've got that here. I made this relatively recently. And Iranians, the threads themselves are incredibly, they're really easy to work with. So they're some of my favourite material. Just an all-around good material. Strong but pliant. The magical property is actually quite unique. And the mentrail mask itself is the best way to make that property apply. So that's a nice one to make. So what happens with a mentrail mask? When you put on the mentrail mask, you will be able to change your face. Your face can become or transform into somebody else's face. A couple of rules, as I'm sure you probably expect at this time. The face has to be from someone that you've seen with your own eyes. So you can't say, oh, someone told me about this and that's who I'm going to be. No, it has to be somebody that you've seen with your own eyes. Yeah? And the other rule is that when you're in battle and you put it on, you can only put it on thrice before it loses all of its power. And one thing I would warn you about the mentrail mask is that if you decide to use it, I would definitely decide before battle which face you're going to transform into, because what can happen, I'm sure you're probably filling in the blanks here, but you could be in a situation where you're so caught up in this and that, and you decide to put it on, but you get distracted. Things are happening. There's so much going on. I don't know how the crown works. I really don't. I don't know what her whole thing is, so it's really makes it a little bit difficult for me to build this suit of armour, because typically what I do is I'd make sure that I know what the threats are, what the obstacles are going to be from the outset. But it's just, she's such an enigmatic character, isn't she? You just don't know. So I'm sort of trying to throw as much at you as I can. We're going to make sure that you're fine. I just, want to give fair warnings where I can. So that's why you want to dictate and decide on who you can maybe turn into. I'd say have 3 decided beforehand. Yeah. So, what do you think? Well, here we are. There's Radiance. Yeah. Well, one lovely thing about Radiance is that in the moonlight actually shimmers like rain droplets. It's really beautiful, actually, and it has this sort of it looks like a sort of innocuous bit of fabric, but I quite like that when you're expecting nothing and you get so much. It's a lovely quality. So you want to feel it, of course. Here you are. There we go. Yeah, it's a nice one as well. Nice and soft. Just do you know what? It's one of the first ones that I ever learned how to work with. My father used to love this one. My mother used to love using it in battle. And my father used to love making them. My mother used to play practical jokes on my father. And there was a fella in the village where I lived, croonered, and he always fancied my mother. So one night she came home, she's wearing the mask, and she had the face of croonered. Oh, my father, he nearly split her head in two. I mean, he didn't, or else, I wouldn't be telling this story with a smile on my face, but yes, she was wild, I tell you. She was really wild. Anyway, so we come to a decision about the menstrual mask. What do you think? Take your time, it's Alright, tell you what, we'll put this Rainian into another pile. It'll be a maybe pile. How about that? Alright. Now we could fashion you a troubadourian trumpet which I'm sure you don't know what that is. So a troubadourian trumpet is one that when you blow it, it will make the listener hear whatever you want that listener to hear. So you could make it hear the call of its master. You could make it the scream of a loved one. You could make it beckoning from its mother. Yeah, it does seem a bit cruel, but if they're attacking you, right, and you throw that voice in another direction, it swings back round, catches them. They look away for a second. That could be the difference between life and death for you. So, it's just something to think about. Yeah. That seems a bit cruel. Alright. That's fair enough. Plus a troubadourian takes about... it takes longer than we have to make. So, it's probably best to just, move along. So, I have another idea. How about a pithil woven Carther vest? This is one of my absolute favourites to work with. Oh, it takes ages to make this material. Oh, I have no idea. That's why this one is so expensive. These are each individual, and they are so fine, but so strong. Again, it's like that. It's pliant and yet so strong. I mean, that's a dream material, isn't it? So, Carther vest, what this does. This is an amazing piece of armour, the Carther vest. Particularly when it's a pithil woven Carther vest. Because what it does is that the moment another metal touches it in battle, the whole thing, just on the outside, the thing heats up to the temperature of a furnace. I mean, and it melts the other metal, making that weapon completely unusable. Isn't that something? So, yeah, you jumped on that one. It's a great one. And we definitely should have enough to make a Carther vest for you. Got a lot of fabric, so definitely have enough. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, should be alright. So, the funny thing is with this is that it's actually a lot heavier than you think, which is why you wouldn't make a suit of armour out of this. Just the vest, that's what we do here. So, just to explain a little bit, it's very heavy, oddly heavy. I mean, like, it's, yeah, so give it a feel. Here. Yeah, here, take that side of it. There. Yeah, I mean, it's heavy. It's right heavy. Alright, good. So, it's hot in here, isn't it? So we'll definitely do that then. Good. That's good. Are you enjoying this process so far? I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, I forgot to ask you. How was Tally's? Yeah. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. That's good. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah. Tally and her sister, they're old friends. Go way back. Alright, so I'll put this in the definitely yes pile. Alright. Now, I think next we should maybe think about a cinder hewn salad. They say that this was mined by tawny trolls in the mournful mountains. Yeah, I'm not sure if I believe that, but it's 50 times stronger than gold and twice as malleable. It's another absolutely beautiful combination. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous material to work with. Again, it's one of my favourites. Now, a cinder hewn salad is just like any other helmet. You'd wear it the same way, feels the same. However, because it's a cinder hewn salad, once you put it on, your hearing will increase and enhance to an enormous degree. So, when you're in the battlefield, you'll be able to hear the chirp of a cricket on the other side of the enemy tent. So it's great. It's strong. It's light. It's a light one. It's, beautiful fabric. Really beautiful. I mean, just look at that. Shimmers beautifully. It collects light as well. So, let's say if you leave this by a fire, or if you leave it in the sun, then it takes that light and it can reflect that back when, again, you set that intention for it to do so. So it's a great one. I love using this. This is one of those that just makes so much sense when it comes to armour and using materials that are pliant and strong, supportable. It's great. So once you heat it, goes through a process, to bend it, heat it, bend it, shape it, then you cool it. I know it sounds like a long process. Actually, we'd be able to get this one done do you think? Alright, good. That's good. Yes, it really is just... This is one of those that if you'd said no, I probably would have tried to convince you. It's really one that I love. I love using it. I haven't used it in a long time. People usually, assume that it's really expensive, but it's actually, it's not as expensive as some of the other things that we have. So, anyway, again, we'll be putting this in the definitely pile, so that's good. Alright, next up, we have a Boggin Scale Brigandine. Look at that. It is just absolutely some of the most beautiful scales you've ever seen. So much like the Armadale, actually the granddaughter of the owner of these scales actually gave them to me as a gift. Now, these scales are not just beautiful, they have magical properties as well, as I'm sure at this point you probably assumed. Now, when you're wearing this, your enemy will see their loved one in your eyes. Yeah. It's a harsh one, but it's really mainly used for a diversion again. One part of this that's actually really interesting is that you actually cannot attack as they're seeing you as their loved one. So, in a sense, there's already like a built-in checks and balances, because otherwise that kind of fighting would just be so manipulative. It would be, I think, just not the kind of magic that we have here. So these natural checks and balances are sort of built into it. Also, there's no invisibility sort of thing. However, do you know what camouflage means? Camouflage. So, I'm not sure if you can see this, but if you do the scales this way, so that they're all dark, that side, the underside, actually takes on whatever is around it colour-wise. So you can camouflage it really well. And then, just like the previous garment, the other side actually holds light. So, once you flip it down, if you're in the dark and you need some light, you'll be able to light your own way. So it's a really handy piece of material. It's great to work with as well. There we go. Did this last bit. There we are. Look at that. So, here it is. Again, you can bring it all up, and then you can push it all down. It's very handy. It's a heavy one for sure, but you know, that's what it is. So now if we were going to use this, because we are doing basically the entire base out of the Medallion scales, I'd say this could be like patchworked throughout your body. So just a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit over here. If that's something that you're interested in. If it's not your cup of tea, I understand, but that's just something I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. It works better when you've got flat surface, as you can imagine. But here, would you like to feel it? Again, it is quite heavy, so but it's really beautiful. There you are. Yeah, right, it's just there's something magical about it as well. You just feel like yeah, it's fit for a real proper warrior or something. It's pretty important. That's what I thought of you. So what say you? What do you think? As you can see, it blends in even now. The camouflage blends in. So what do you think? That's a bit harsh. Yeah. I can imagine it would be very difficult if you're fighting and let's say you haven't seen your loved one in a long time and you see them all of a sudden. I think you're probably right. It's a bit cruel. So I think that's probably a good idea. You're very wise. Yeah, you are. You really are. Alright. So we'll put this in the no pile then. Alright. And now lastly, some Narak fur underbridges. Norak fur is an amazing, incredible fur. It's really the only one that I use because Noraks, they shed their entire fur every season. So it's, it's not the most rare of materials, but it's just a staple. It's a great thing to have. And here's why. So the Norak fur allows you to maintain your comfortable body temperature no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are. So if you're wearing the Norak fur, then when you're in battle, no matter how hot you get, no matter how hot the environment is, you will stay a nice, cool temperature, cool and comfortable temperature, and it just won't ever get above a certain degree, so it'll never ever feel uncomfortable. It's perfect for battle. The other thing is, it works both ways. If it's getting particularly hot, it'll cool you down. And if it's really cold, it'll keep you nice and warm and comfortable. I mean, I suppose it's a bit easier to believe that it'll keep you warm than it is to believe that it'll keep you nice and cool. But I tell you, it does. It feels counterintuitive to be putting fur, especially fur as thick as this, underneath your armour. It works. It really works. It's madness, but it does. I mean, it's just... It's a beautiful, beautiful, soft fur. And it really works. So we've plenty of this as well. Be absolutely loads of it to make some underbreeches for you. That's a funny word, underbreeches. Yeah, I suppose you're right. And underbreeches is hard for me to say as well. Underwear. That's, well, maybe that's what I'll start calling it from now. I'll make you some underwear. That's funny. Alright, so why don't you give this a feel? What I want you to do actually, take this bit that I'm about to hand to you, wrap it around your arm and give it just 5 seconds. Oh, you'll definitely be able to tell. Here you go. Yeah, wrap this that way. Straight around the arm like that. Yeah. Uh-huh. It's crazy, right? So, let's see. What do you think about this? Do you want me to make you some underwear with this? Alright. Yeah, that's perfect. We'll do that then. Alright, so I suppose what's next is I just have to get a few sort of, oh my goodness, this is one bad thing about it. It does shed. So you'll have to, figure out some kind of adhesive so it's not getting all over you or leaving tracks. You know, you don't want, when you're trying to be discreet and you've got Norak fur just flying all over the place. So that's quite a bit too, isn't it? Sorry about that. In any case, I need to get a few measurements from you, just some basic ones. So yeah, what we'll do is I keep losing my tape measure. Have I? Earlier I had it around my neck and I didn't even realise. Found it. Alright, so let me get something to write with as well. Alright. So, do you mind if I just get a bit closer to you and I'll take a few measurements? Alright, lovely. Yeah, great. Okay. Do you now rib to rib? Okay. Good build. Breast to navel, or not breast, but in between your two ribs, all the way down to your navel. Top two ribs. Okay. Do you mind pointing out where your navel is? I don't want to go poking around, sorry. Lovely. No, just because of the fabric, it's hard to tell. I'm sorry. Alright, there we go. Lovely. Okay, don't know what this is, but I'll leave it. Quarter long and this bit, third and fourth. Okay, great. So, especially with things like the Pitbull and Carla vest and things like that, that's going to be really easy to make for you. Sorry. Gets so hot in here. Be really easy to make because your measurements are really helpful for that sort of thing. I'll just make it a lot easier. Alright. Now, do you mind? I'll go around just your waist. Yeah. Sorry. Don't know what on this I got on that. Put it past okay. 14 carats. Yeah, same as very good measurements all around. Not that there's such a thing as bad measurements and good measurements, it's just, it'll make it really easy for me to make this, so that's good. And now for the salad, I'll just take it around your top, your dome, your head. Yeah. There we go. And sorry, I'm just gonna come poke around this way, right at the top. Oh, sorry about that. Dip down for a sec. Alright, there we go. Lovely. Alright. I'm going to go the other side around your head like that. Great. Is that right? Okay. So, this. Like that. Alright. We're nearly done, yeah. Alright, so now just gonna do your leg down to your foot, and I'm gonna do both sides, but I won't do front and back, I'll just do the front. Don't really need to do the back. So yeah, is that alright? Alright, here we go. No, just stay as you are, you're fine, you're perfect. I'll see if you have two different sized legs. The anticipation driving you wild a bit. Alright, like that. No, they're the same. It's almost exactly the same. Yep. Lovely. Got all your measurements, got all the materials, got an idea about what we're going to do specifically. Got all kinds of stuff to work on, so honestly I think we're all set. I'm going to make this a top priority. Probably won't be going to sleep anytime soon, so what I say is I'll have this here fitted here that you know Kilkith, so I'll make sure I'll give it to Kilkith and then I'll have her give it to you. What do you think? Or she comes by all the time? Yeah. Yeah, she's one of the best warriors I've ever met, including my mother. I mean, she would have really given her a run for her money. Alright, well, listen, it's been an absolute joy to see you again. I'm really excited you stopped by, and I'm really glad that we're doing all this. I think it's going to be great. I really think it's going to turn out really well. It really is such a pleasure to see you. Alright, so I'm sure you've got loads to do. I want you to be, rested and in a really good place. So I will hope to see you again soon. And really, I wish you all the luck in the world with the crone. Thank you so much. So much for doing that. For all of us. You're gonna make this place better. You're gonna make this place home again. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, all you have to do is just unlock the door. Alright, we'll see you soon. Bye now.